Hi, it's Fidget for Fitness. It is Monday, May 31st, Memorial Day. I am making these Seedy gluten-free, sugar-free, low-carb crackers by request. Even though I have one of the videos online, I don't have the video of me making it. So real quickly, I have 2.5 cups of almond meal flour. To that I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of coconut flour. And I just created this recipe and I love it. I've made it almost once a week since I actually made it initially. Then I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And just basically just mix that together. To that I'm going to add 1 beaten egg. I have 3 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of canola oil, or you could do all butter, whatever you prefer. I think canola oil would just crisp it up a little bit. Just stir that together. So the rolling it out and putting it together is going to be the hardest part. So after you get this all sort of combined, you're just going to roll it out between 2, you could do it between parchment paper or wax paper, but I'm going to do it between 2 silicone mats. So I'm just going to show you the ingredients real quick. So it's almond flour, coconut flour, canola oil, some melted butter, baking soda, and it's going to be sea salt, pepper, garlic powder, chopped onions, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, and caraway seeds. I hope all that got in the camera, but if not, sorry. So what we're going to do is, this is where you got to get your hands down and dirty. Just take one of the silicone mats, lay it out. Just get your hands in there and just make it into one kind of big ball. And it does come together pretty easily. And it's a little greasy because of the butter, but it's pretty easy to work with. So the silicone mat is the size of the baking sheet. So you just want to roll it in a rectangle about the size of the silicone mat. And then we're just going to slide it on, top it, and bake it. Slide it onto the mat, I should say. So you just want to kind of get it in one little heap. Put the other mat on top of it. It makes for easier rolling and doesn't grease up your rolling pin. I'm going to do this as fast as I can because the clock is ticking. So you want to get it to a thickness, and I don't know if I could show the thickness on here, but you want to get it to a thickness that is, I don't know, about 1/4 inch. So it's going to be, this is where you might have to get your rolling pin just in there. So you just want to kind of, I prefer to use a silicone mat, but just so it doesn't stick. And you just need to work it. Then what I do is just usually cut it, put the ends back on, and work them back into a rectangle. So you'll see that it's loose on some ends. Just going to cut that, cut this, and then I'm just going to stick that on the end here and just roll it into a square. Add these over here, and again, it looks messy, but they come out great. They're really flaky, they're really flavorful, they satisfy that desire for crunchy as well as, you know, cracker carby type of thing. If you have a carb craving, this is going to be it. So this is about as rectangular as it's going to get. It won't fill up the whole mat, by the way. So just keep on rolling it out. Try and have it to be all the same thickness, because if it's not, you're going to have some burned pieces. So that looks pretty good. And what you're going to do from here You just kind of tap it together. If I had more time, it would be a little better to look at. And then I'm just gonna, and then you just basically start sprinkling things. So what I put on it first is sea salt. And don't be too liberal with the sea salt. I know people like a salty flavor, but the first batch I made was too salty, so I'm not too liberal with the salt. And after you just coat it, just push it in. You basically want to push in every ingredient. Next ingredient is going to be black pepper. Again, not too liberal with the black pepper unless you're a pepper freak. Push that in. Try and get it all the way to the edges so the edge pieces all have flavor as well. Then I'm just going to take garlic powder. This is another thing that can be overpowering, so just very gently. Not too much, unless again you love garlic. And this is all to your taste, but for me, the first one was too salty and too garlicky. And make sure you use garlic powder and not garlic salt, because if you use garlic salt, it will for certainly be too sodium rich and way too salty. Next thing I do is put chopped onions in, and they're just dried chopped onions. Sprinkle them on, and just coat the top. Press them in. Find the spots that don't have any. Sometimes it's easier just to stick them in your hand, and then just sprinkle them around in the spots that need to be coated. Just push it in. Now my next two favorite ingredients are sesame seeds, which just, I think, make this delicious. And as I mentioned on one of my other videos, this is probably the closest you'll get to like an everything bagel with all the same flavor. So it's crunchy, it's buttery tasting, it's just, you know, it's not doughy, but it'll certainly taste flaky and have all those flavors that an everything bagel has without the carbs or the calories. This is gluten-free, sugar-free, and low carb. So again, just push it all in. Try and get the ends. You can take some of the seeds out and sprinkle them where you need them. Push it in, and you want to make sure you push it in, because if you don't push it in, they'll just roll off the minute you cut this. Next is poppy seeds, and because I have just a couple minutes to go, I will be quick. I like poppy seeds. I'm pretty liberal with the poppy seeds. I might even put some more sesame seeds on here. So push that in as well. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more poppy. Maybe a little bit more sesame. Push it in. You want to make sure you push it in after each addition. If you don't, they'll be rolling off. These were caraway seeds that I thought I had to sprinkle top, but they don't. So caraway seeds are optional. Some people like them, some don't. They're an acquired taste, I think. I'm not a gigantic fan of caraway seeds, but they're great on this. And again, it gives you that sort of bread-like flavor. So those are the caraway seeds. Push them in. I think I was a little too liberal in one spot. And that's it. You're going to slide it onto a baking sheet. Simple as can be. You're going to score it, basically cut it into, or not score it, but actually cut it into 2-inch by 2-inch squares. So you just want to go straight down.